I believe that Rhea Ripley is the single best wrestler in WWE today. And that's a pretty loaded statement, because deciding who the best wrestler is in any given promotion or any given era has a lot to do with personal choice. And while some objectivity can be applied to it, and you can look at statistically good things like match quality, promo quality, how long feuds are remembered, there is a lot that's up in the air for the personal interpretation. But I feel that Rhea Ripley is one of the only 5-tool players they have in WWE today. And some of the traits she has that she displays in her matches, her promos, and her character work, I feel elevate her above many other wrestlers who some would choose to put above her. And I should state off the back that this is, of course, my personal opinion. If you disagree with my ideas, absolutely fine. Everyone is encouraged their own opinion, and I encourage discourse down in the comments. But I am Isaiah Knowlton. This is Hot Tag Wrestling, and here is why I think Rhea Ripley is the single best wrestler in WWE today. I want to start out by talking about matches, because when you compare her catalog of matches to other wrestlers who are at the top of the WWE cards, like Roman or Cody or Gunther, it seems like she can't really match up. Because though most Rhea Ripley matches are good, finding something truly great or a classic involving Rhea Ripley is a little bit more rare than you would see in some of the other wrestlers in the company. Not to say that she doesn't have numerous examples of great matches, like Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 39. That's one of my favorite matches of all time. I feel easily in the discussion for one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. And the reason that match was so great is because Rhea Ripley was able to get in the ring with someone who, in terms of an in-ring style, was on her level. There's a serious issue in WWE, especially in the Raw Women's division, where there is not a lot of talent that can really level up to Rhea's ability. In terms of work rate in the ring, people definitely have their goods and their bads depending on who they are. But in terms of what they're able to produce in the ring and have great matches, in WWE right now, Charlotte can do it. Io, Bianca's there. Bayley, I think, could be there. Just in terms of match rate, maybe Shayna or Kaylee Ray, but like they're not really presented as the kind of star. But really, the people who are currently being booked at the top of the Raw Women's division just can't hold a candle to Rhea Ripley in the ring. And a lot of times she has to elevate her matches as a result, rather than two of the best wrestlers in the company going at each other. It's Rhea having to hold up a competitor who might be not as solid in the ring, maybe a little bit newer, maybe still a little bit finicky. She has to carry a lot of that weight in her matches. And that's why she doesn't really have an amazing catalog of matches. Like if you look at her pay-per-views this year, she's faced Nia Jax, who I have said many times before I'm just not a fan of her work. Liv Morgan, who's pretty up and down in terms of quality. And at WrestleMania, she faced Becky Lynch in, a pretty good match. But I'm personally not a fan of Becky Lynch's working style. I think she's pretty overrated in the ring. So the match quality hasn't been there, but that's not because of Rhea Ripley. That's not her fault. Like, you can look at anyone and apply that. Like, if you look at CM Punk in AEW, when was he doing his best work? Feud with MJF, feud with Eddie Kingston, his matches with Samoa Joe. That's the best stuff CM Punk did in AEW. But when you put him out there against QT Marshall or Lee Moriarty, he wasn't having great matches because he wasn't put in there with top tier talent. He was thrown out on TV and said, go have a match with this person who doesn't match up to you in quality. And he was having a lot of just 3.5 star matches as a result. The same thing here is happening with Rhea. But even in those matches that sort of lack that cohesion, the two-part build that a match needs to have of 2 stars of equal quality going into it, she still sort of acts as like a diamond in the rough, because every time she goes in the ring, everything she does looks fantastic. She's a great bumper and an even better seller. She can really bump and sell like very few people in WWE can. Sami Zayn is the only person who I can really think can one-up her in that department, at least for people who come off the top of my head. And also, her offense always looks spectacular. And in her division, that's not necessarily something that you see a lot. A lot of times, strikes from people at the top of the card, like Becky Lynch once again jumps into my mind, Zelina Vega, Liv Morgan, they just don't look that effective or impactful, but Rhea Ripley's moves always look 100% effective. And that's not something that's easy to do. Like, if you take the Riptide, which is her finishing move, that's so easy to just look like a nothing move, look completely ineffective, because essentially it's just a pump handle slam, which is a pretty common move in wrestling. But the way she slams him down and then throws him and folds him over for a pin, she just has such an amazing way of selling everything that happens in the ring, like so few other wrestlers do. And I feel like if a lot of wrestlers in WWE were put in her position where they have to carry matches so consistently, very few people would be able to produce matches consistently the quality that Rhea Ripley does. She very rarely has an out and outright bad match. Sometimes there's bad booking, like we saw at the most recent pay-per-view. The name escapes me right now for some reason. Bad Blood with Liv Morgan. Sometimes it's because she's in there with a not so great opponent, but Rhea Ripley is always a shining star in her matches, and she's able to elevate whatever work she is given. And that doesn't just hold true for her matches, it's also true for her character work. Another reason that Rhea is so great is because she has something that many wrestlers don't. And they can work their entire careers to try to get this, and they just can't. And she has it, and that is star power. When Rhea is on screen, she exudes this charisma that forces you to watch her and forces you to stay tuned in for whatever she is doing. And there's a couple reasons for that. Firstly, she's good at promos, and I think it would be sort of ridiculous to say that she was as good as some other people in WWE, like CM Punk or LA Knight, but her words are sort of elevated by this magnetism that she has when she is in the ring. She has this aura about her that's made up of so many different facets. Firstly, I think it's because she is presented like a top star by WWE and has been for the past 2 years consistently, where they book her correctly. They give her as much pomp and circumstance as they would anyone else, giving her the titles, giving her the big WrestleMania matches, the big entrances, constantly booking her on pay-per-views, making her seem like a star. They've done a perfect job at really elevating her to that star power area. But she also does it for herself. The way she holds herself and the way she just exudes confidence through her, like she's such a professional. She makes it seem so natural. And it all really comes down to her character work. She always feels so comfortable with whatever she's doing, whatever character she's portraying, whatever promo she has to cut. She always feels comfortable in the role and able to deliver it in a way that really connects with fans. And one other thing that influences that is she has a very unique appearance, which is something that's very helpful in wrestling because it automatically allows the audience to make connections with wrestlers. New fans are able to immediately differentiate them from the rest of the roster and sort of influence some opinions on them, whereas older fans have that, but they also know more about that character, so can get more involved on an emotional level with the stories or character work that is being presented. Like, jump over to AEW. Look at a guy like Luchasaurus. He got over immediately on gimmick alone because he had a unique look. Rhea has that. She has this look that is so unique, but also so enhances her character and her star power. She looks like a badass. She looks like a rebel. She looks like a champion. She looks like she would be at the top of a card, dominate anyone else who comes in her path. Like, that is the aura that she exudes. And every single thing about her presentation, promos, character work, the way she holds herself, the way WWE presents her, 10 out of 10. So all these arguments that I've made for Rhea are also applicable to other wrestlers in WWE. Cody Rhodes, you could make the same arguments for. Gunther is a guy who they've been doing very well recently to elevate that position. Coming off their feud, both CM Punk and Drew McIntyre could be put in that same position. And this is where the personal taste element comes in. Where does your taste fall? What do you like in your pro wrestling? And I think one of the reasons why I lean towards Rhea versus some of those other guys who I do love, but I would put Rhea above them, is she makes me excited to watch matches in the women's division when not a lot of the other wrestlers do. Like, if Rhea wasn't there and I was watching Liv Morgan, who I do like Liv, but Natalya and Zelina Vega and whatever Sonya's Deville new group is called, the Pure Fusion Collective, like, those are not acts that excite me. And Rhea Ripley is an act that does excite me, and it's such a credit to her that I will tune in to watch her when the rest of the division has seemingly nothing to really interest me. She's able to hold up this division and be a bright spot in an otherwise pretty boring, pretty mundane division. And that's not something that can be said about those other people who I've named before. Cody is at the top of a division that's flourishing. The same with Gunther being the world champions. Their mid and undercards are amazing right now. So they have that foundation that they can work on. And their star power can be built as a result of not only their own work, but also interactions with other people in WWE who are at the top of their game. Rhea doesn't have that. She is the one bright spot in the Raw women's division. And being able to have good matches like she is, to exude the charisma, to be on the same level, if not higher, of star power than she was 2 years ago when she was fighting Bianca and Charlotte and Becky, and there were a lot more names in the division, to still be on top and still be the best and get the receptions from the crowd that she does is absolutely phenomenal. And it's so to her credit that she just flourishes with everything that she does. And all those reasons combine to form my opinion of Rhea Ripley. Not just is she a top-tier wrestler, a top-tier character worker, she does so in a way that no one else in WWE is able to do, by holding up an entire division just on her back. And those are my opinions on why I think Rhea Ripley is the best wrestler in WWE today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with me? Who would you put above Rhea Ripley in terms of being a great wrestler or having more star power than her? I'm excited to hear what you guys think. And if you disagree with me, if you think that Rhea Ripley is not as good as I'm saying, please let me know. Let's have some discourse in the comments down below. Any feedback is absolutely phenomenal, and I always appreciate it. As well as commenting, please consider leaving a like, leaving a subscribe, as it does help very new channels like myself. Thank you guys very much for watching. I have been Isaiah from Hot Tag Wrestling, and I'll see you next time.